2024 movie, Bob Marley or Marley One Love. The beginning of the movie focuses on 1976. This is the time when there was a lot of political unrest in Kingston, in Jamaica, and Bob Marley was planning a concert to try and bring sort of peace to the island amidst this political violence between two parties struggling for power. He was I remember that the media tried to suggest that he was very pro Michael Manley, and we see an array of family members, his children, Rita, his wife, his siblings, and we get a little taste of his reggae music, of course, and we'll see how the movie goes. Marley is viewed by the opposition party to as being working for Michael Madsen, is it? And as a result, he's subject of an attempted assassination alongside one of his colleagues. And of course, I do recall this, so it is factually correct. It appears that his wife Rita has been severely injured by a bullet that went very close to her brain. Bob escaping really uninjured. We then get a flashback to almost pre-adolescence when Rita and Bob cement their friendship, which is quite touching. It appears that there was two seriously injured in the shooting. One is relocated to Miami, but his handlers plead for him to go to a safe place, which happens, and then further debate about does he do the concert or does he not, now that he appears to be a target. It's interspersed, this political upheaval, with little snippets of Marley's music, which keeps you interested. Other than that, it's a bit ponderous. There's a strong element of Rastafarianism throughout the script so far, being very much a case of if Rasta had wanted it, he would have died. Rasta saved him. It's all sort of very much a question of destiny. Not being a particularly religious man, of course, I find this a bit of a struggle. And then we get splashings or puffs of the famous weed, which was very much a part and parcel of Bob's daily menu. And of course this was also linked to that religious, spiritual feeling, high on marijuana. The movie Desiree continuing, it meanders along with Desiree narrating as she acknowledges how Bonaparte conquered Italy. He's on crockery everywhere. He's extremely famous, and there's an element of that one might sense that she missed the boat, but she gets transferred to Rome, diplomatic life, she calls it, being very boring, and as yet she hasn't found her love. The movie moves on to 1797 now. As I said, Napoleon's now the leading general. He's conquered Italy. Desiree lives in Rome with her sister and husband Joseph, and then they return to Paris, or she does anyway. She meets Napoleon at a sort of dinner party, and there's quite an interesting contretemps when he tries to explain why he didn't come back for her, why he married Josephine, because he needed to get the support of the hierarchy in his plans to conquer. And then her attention switched to Bernadette, who she eventually marries, and they have a son, Oscar. That's a couple of years down the road. The film is a gentle sort of romance, really, with prim and proper, I would describe it as. Nothing particularly spectacular, but there we are. We then get a period where the movie does really slow up, as there's a coronation to be delivered to Bonaparte, and we hear about all the trappings, all the pomp and ceremony, all the details that are carried out on such magnificent events, and reminds me of the boredom of the British royal family and the traditions that are carried out, which apparently culturally mean so much, and it really does dawdle this particular plot. I enjoyed a little rat-a-tat chat by Bonaparte towards one of his underlings about the imminent problem of not being able to find 7 virgins. Bonaparte wanted to replicate a significant ceremony from France's past, where a marriage took place, and this was a proviso. I don't know all the details, but it enabled a slightly sort of lighter moment, so to speak, one that I interpreted as quite amusing. However, I'm not suggesting that everyone will see it that way. On a more serious note, which the historical annals will support, we hear that Bonaparte's obsession to go into the East and occupy and acquire land, which of course we know led to failure. He's recruiting young boys, trying to ring bells with what's obviously been happening in the Ukraine. These demagogue leaders obsessed by acquiring land to be remembered as part of their legacy haven't just started recently. It's only touched on here, of course. Hollywood in 1954 wanted to keep its interested viewers happy. The movie then shows Marley going off to London to escape the violence, and with Chris Blackwell of Island Records, he starts to put together demos with his band, which would become Exodus, Natural Mystic. We see him jamming, we see him putting together jamming on his own with his acoustic guitar, with his wife Rita as the first listener. Whether this is true or not, does it really matter? But there's also a strong sort of identification with the Rastafarianism, the sort of book he reads to inspire him to write the songs. But we also have a sort of fairly jocular scene with the band, which is like an audition for a guitar player. I'm not quite sure who that is, but he passes with flying colours, even though he sounds more like Hendrix. The film, predictably with biographies, flits back in time. First, we see a debate after the Exodus album is complete. The debate focuses on the cover, and the marketing side are not too happy about it, but Bob loves the cover. There's no picture of him, and it's got a sort of religious feel to it. And then we switch back to the beginning of the Wailers. No Bob Marley in those days. The band with all those stars like Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer, Sly and Robbie, trying to get their first sort of position on the ladder, trying to convince a local guy that they could play at this ramshackle club, which is quite amusing. But the movie lacks punch. It's okay, but it's not like Walk the Line, or it's not like Ray. It's not in that ballpark, to be honest. Mind you, we've got another 45 minutes to go. We then see the band take off as they go around Europe, and all the venues are sold out. They then start mixing with the rich, the higher echelons, Prince Rainier, Monaco, blah blah. And then there's an extremely powerful scene, and they're at some cocktail party, and this comes out of the blue really, that drinking wine and various other, meeting promoters to try and get an African tour, and Rita is talking to some guy while Bob's wandering around meeting all the dignitaries, and he catches a sign of her, and he starts to he interjects. They end up outside, and they have a huge blow up where Rita lays it all out to Bob that fame has gone to his head, and she reminds him of his philandering. She reminds him of her personal sacrifices, being a good singer. She reminds him of the power of them together to get the career moving, and now he's behaving like a little teenage boy, and it's very much a case of the woman behind the man, and he, for that moment, in the presence of the party atmosphere, had a tinge of sort of jealousy, maybe. Not quite sure whether it was jealousy, but it's a very, very powerful scene, and it's the first time that the film has really made a big statement, I think.
As we move towards the final sort of quarter of the film, we then get the diagnosis of cancer, melanoma cancer, that Bob is facing at the, I don't know how old he was, probably about 30.
As the credits come up, after his return to Jamaica, he died in 1981 from cancer at the age of 36, and then we reference his unity in bringing opposing political leaders together as a symbol of unity and peace in 1978. My conclusion: okay, but could have been better. The lead performance was pretty good, but the characters could have been developed far more, I think.